Hello everyone, I am Manoj Patra and I am excited to present Deep Compliance Agent, an anomaly intelligence and cognitive compliance research framework. This project demonstrates how agentic AI, LLM, and UiPath RPA can work together to transform compliance, making it not just automated but intelligent, adaptive, and explainable. So in large organizations, compliance team must verify thousands of documents daily, be it contracts, supplier invoices, onboarding forms, or regulatory reports. And each must be checked against multiple corporate or legal policies, for example, vendor approval, tax compliance, or financial threshold. And these manual review leads to slow turnaround time, sometimes human fatigue and oversight often lead to critical issues, poor auditability where we have limited trace of who approved what and why. To solve this, we have Deep Compliance Agent. It is an intelligent compliance platform that fuses agentic AI, LLM, and UiPath RPA to detect, explain, and govern anomalies across enterprise processes. It continuously learns from policies, spot hidden risk, and ensures every decision is traceable, explainable, and auditable. Here, how it works under the hood. So it has got obviously AI grounded policy understanding where we have large language model interpret internal policies and control to define what compliance truly means. We have automated anomaly detection and classification. We, then we have intelligent compliance reasoning, dynamic decision engine, and human in the loop to ensure that human remains in the control of all the high risk cases. And finally, we have audit ready explainability ensures every anomaly finding and decision is fully transparent. Here are some of the benefits and the departments where this agents can be used. And now let's walk through the deep compliance agent architecture and see how each layer contributes to anomaly intelligence and compliance reasoning. So first, it starts with third-party system which sends all these documents like supplier invoice or transactions report to the compliance team mailbox, which triggers the process. The documents are first saved in a UiPath storage bucket, which provides version control, audit tracking, and accessibility for both bots and the AI agents. Along with that, the data is also getting saved into the database in the UiPath data fabric. Once stored, the agentic workflow kicks off from the same process, which orchestrated through LangGraph. And this graph is the brain of the operation, where each node performs a specialized cognitive task. Here, the first node performs text extraction, reading docx file or PDF using OCR and natural language parsing to convert unstructured data into the clean text. Next, we have context rounding, which connects this text to enterprise regulatory and policy knowledge base. And using a vector DB, it retrieves the top 3 to 5 relevant policy snippets, giving the LLM factual grounding and helps in reducing the hallucinations. The LLM reasoning then interprets the document in the light of these policies. It extracts findings such as compliance breaches, missing validations, or threshold violations, returning structured JSON with severity and confidence scores. In parallel, we have the MCP anomaly detection model, which analyzes numerical fields like invoice amounts, percentage, or credit terms, which identifies statistical or behavioral outliers. It computes an anomaly score, feeding quantitative insights into the reasoning process. Then we have the decisioning layer, which acts as the orchestrator here. It merges the findings from the LLM and the MCP model, which applies predefined thresholds and also determine the appropriate next action, whether to auto resolve this, log and monitor, or to escalate it to a human. When escalation is needed, The UiPath Action Center creates a human review task. Here, compliance officer can actually review the AI reasoning, provide comments, and approve or reject the decision, enabling human in the loop governance. Finally, the RP layer updates all the result in the backend system, stores the audit JSON, and generates an HTML report for dashboards or for the auditors. Every execution is timestamped, traceable, and compliant by design. This tightly integrated pipeline ensures that compliance is not just automated but intelligent, transparent, and continuously improving. Now, let's see the live action here. So, this is my supplier invoice, which will be acting as the input for this process. And this is how it looks like. I've already created one and set it to my compliance email box, and which would again trigger my RPA process. So let's see how it looks like. I've already ran the process and will show you how it looks like. So now I'm into my orchestrator. As you can see here, the process has successfully executed, and in the trace, you can see that the first thing is obviously is read and extract, where the agent will just go to my storage bucket based on the parameter that I passed. So if you see on the right side, we have passed the parameter, the username, the user email, and the file name plus the record ID. So record ID is something which we have already stored in my database into the data fabric, which we will see in a bit. But the first thing here is read and extract. It first obviously go to my storage bucket, downloads the data, and converts that into a readable format so that it can be passed to the next method. Next, we have this context grounding. It takes a document text and performs a search using UiPath context grounding against a pre-existing index. Let me show you how this index would look like. So here I'm into my indexes. I've already created one index that is with 5 documents, which points to a storage bucket. So it goes to that index and find the relevant data for me. Third, we have this core compliance analysis. So it uses a powerful LLM to compare the document text against the retrieved rules. Its system prompt clearly defines the LLM roles as a financial regulation expert. It is tasked to identify violation or risk and output a structured JSON, or you can say array of findings including issue severity, explanation, and confidence. You can see the data over here. So this is my output, and then we have check for anomaly. So this is a UiPath coded MCP, and this is how this would look like. It has two tools. One is predict tool and the second one is train tool. So it first called train tool, which basically train the model on my synthetic data set, and then we run the predict tool within the same method only. So if I come back to this, you can see here it calls two tools. First one is train tool, predict tool, and returns the result back to my agent. So it extracts actually all the numeric values from the document and calculates a feature vector. Yep. So this is how the scores, or you can say the MCP output would look like. Score is 0.54 something. Yes, there is an anomaly, and then we have act or escalate, which is action, decision, and execution. So it acts again as a simple model here, which see, okay, if there's a high severity finding or a high anomaly score of greater than 0.5, if it is less than that, it will try to auto resolve it. Means if all the findings are low severity with high confidence or a low anomaly score, so it will just auto resolve that. The next one is log and monitor. It is default for medium level issues or moderate anomalies. And then we have explain and record. Okay, why we have taken that action. So it is there in my explain and record method. It again creates all these JSON file and text file for the audit purposes and uploads all the data to my storage bucket, which I believe we would see here in my log file, which is my JSON file, which is audit underscore record ID.json. And we have one more output in the text format as well, which we will again see in the email part as well. Coming back to the execution again, so once everything is done, then the process would generate uh, you can say an output in the HTML format. Obviously, it will upload some data to my storage bucket, and let me show you the how the output would look like. So this is the output in the HTML format which got generated with the help of my LLM model. So if I show you the email, how the email would look like, so this is the output email which is similar to what we have seen, the supplier and everything, payment of services, what is the finding, approval limit violation, which is high severity, we have vendor onboarding non-compliance, again the severity is high, purchase order requirement with high severity, and payments term discrepancies again on high severities. And the MCV anomalies detected that it has a score of 0.45, which indicates potential irregularity in the invoice data. And this is a decision. And the action is escalate. What is the reason? Presence of high severity findings, and it combines both my context rounding data plus my MCP data and do a kind of a calculation to give a confidence, and then we create task in the action center and also log the data into the database. So first let me show you how the action center task would look like. So obviously this is a form. First thing is what was the reason, so presence of high severity findings, and what are these findings? So these are the findings, issues, severity and explanation. This is my anomaly score, and then we have the record ID. We'll come back to user reason later, but before that let me show you how the database would look like. So this is the ID which we pass to this method. If you see here, let me come back to this page and show you. In the input you can see there's a record ID which will appear right here into my data fabric table, and then if action is required, then obviously it will create a action ID against that audit ID, what who was the supplier name, what was the document name. So here we are capturing some of the metadata in my table, and after that once user takes any action, let me again go back to this. So this task is completed, the action was accept, and the user prediction was AI prediction is correct. So once the user either accept or reject, a UiPath process will run in the backend and will update the data which is right there. So if you see here, we have accepted this record, accept, and we have said that AI prediction is correct. Yeah, so that is about this demo. Thank you.